I'm not real famous, you know. Oh, okay, what have you been telling you?
You will be now.
All right, thank you.
Right, Gary Dawson from the Repli-Cast team. You run 2 125s. Now
Yes.
That
Yes.
in itself has got to be
Hard work.
an amazing feat.
yeah, very hard work, but worth it.
Now tell us about the 125 and why the choice for the 125 GP.
Why the choice?
Yeah.
It's the bike really for the kids to move up to from the super teens. At 13, 14 year old, anything bigger than that, you can't do it, you can't ride it. It's the perfect bike to learn on every aspect, from braking to slick tyres to suspension to setup, what the kids can take in and learn from. It's a perfect pure racing bike. It's not a road bike, it's never been built to be a road bike, it's been built to be a pure race bike, and it's easier to work on really, and I wouldn't say it's any cheaper, but it's a lot easier to maintain.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say that the smell of the 125 race fuel doesn't have anything to do with you.
None at all.
Right, I know you like that.
Yeah, no, actually.
Do you mind talking me around
None at all.
a 125
None
bike?
at all. Yep, okay. This one is Nathan's bike. Nathan Westwood is 14, just 14. Unfortunately, he's gone and broke his wrist yesterday, but didn't tell anyone.
Oh yeah.
We've asked him if he had an off towards the end, the last lap, Shell Oils, had an off and hurt his wrist, but we asked if it hurts. It's just a normal hurt to a kid, and we never had it checked out, which we never thought we should have to, because it weren't in that much of a pain. He's gone out this morning and not on power, not on spec, not up to his standard that we know he can do, and we've realised there's something wrong. We've checked the bike, we've checked the data, we've checked everything that we could possibly think of, and then we've checked the rider. Is there something wrong? And he's confessed and cried that he broke his wrist, and he didn't tell his dad or me, because he knew we would take him to the medical centre and he won't be able to ride tomorrow. And that's exactly what's happened, and he's broke his wrist, so
I'm going to stop you just there, Gary. Do you think that there's some football players perhaps in this world that could take a lesson off these guys?
Definitely. Yeah,
to ride, to do anything with a broken wrist is a feat. To ride a motorcycle like this around a track, 'cause it is hard work.
It would be interesting. It would be interesting. I think they'll all be laid on the floor by the first corner, or in the knees.
Right. You're talking about this 125.
This is again. It's a 125 single-cylinder, two-stroke engine. Quite a simple engine to work with, but to get the performance that we need, right, clinical. Really, we have to get the squish right. The air compression and everything has to be checked, and temperatures and everything has to be barometrics. Everything needs to be checked. To do the jetting, and that's more or less 90% of a two-stroke engine is the carburation and the jetting.
Yeah.
We've got a power jet carburettor on them now, which helps us from the olden days where you used to have to blip the throttle to keep the oil on the piston to stop you seizing up when you put the power back on. That helps, so that's an aid. We've got BPS on this. We've got GPS on this one. It's an AIM product. It's new. It's been sponsored to us this year to help and see what we think of it, and it actually draws the maps for us. The big bikes have had all this for a long time, but this is new to us, and it's helping, and we're learning. The suspension is K-Tech internal front forks and a rear Bitubu shocker, which again was sponsored on from an Italian firm. It's a zone swinging arm that we've had extended, so we can extend and shorten the geometry of the chassis to make it turn in tighter or better on a long straight track.
Okay, so as a matter of interest then, at Snetterton for example, what would you have done to the bike? Would you make it longer?
The old track, we would have made it longer. Okay. But because they've changed it now, it's a little bit more technical, and the infield, we kept it to a standard short chassis.
So that's what it's on now as well?
Exactly the same, yeah, exactly the same, which helps.
Two-stroke engines have always been a little bit finicky. Is that still the case?
Yeah, still the case. Yeah, that'll never go away, I don't think. But it's part of the racing. It's part of trying to get out of the best we can get out of that engine. Is part of the fun. I wouldn't say fun, but It must be fun or we won't be here.
Yeah, true.
We all fight to get the best, and we didn't get the best last weekend, so we fight again this weekend till we get the best, and then we may get it this weekend, and that's what it's all about. It's trying to get the best of what you've got.
Now, when the bikes come in after a session, as an example,
yes,
you guys pretty much strip them down to the bare bones, don't
yes,
you?
we have to do, yeah. It's check and double check with a two-stroke. They're so finicky, like a piston ring. You can have snapped a ring if you went again, you just wreck the engine, the barrel.
Yeah.
We check everything, to tell you the truth. Right back down to the frame sometimes, the nuts and bolts out, clean it all back and put it all back to what it were before we set off. Mad, but that's check and double check.
Because I've actually just spent the whole day with a team that are involved in the Superstock Thousands, and
yeah.
I watched after the first session, and they pretty much did a nuts and bolts check.
Yes.
Before this evening. You can't really do that with a two-stroke, can you?
No, it'll be nice.
It's got to come apart completely.
They don't have much to do with a four-stroke, only probably put the fuel in, a new set of tyres on, check the nuts and bolts and check the tyre pressures, and that's all they can do. If a four-stroke's broke, it's broke. But with these, we have to maintain them after each outing, not meeting, after each outing, just to make sure nothing is broke.
Yeah.
It's just keeping it on its edge is the word. Keeping it on its edge.
The whole way.
The whole way.
Now, something else that fascinates me is a 14-year-old.
Yes.
Generally doesn't weigh a lot.
No.
Do you have a weight that you have to reach?
136. Yeah, 136 kilos.
How much does the bike weigh?
This bike, I think it's 75 kilos.
75 kilos. So I'm doing some rough maths here.
Yeah.
How much does your 14-year-old weigh?
Well, I've got it actually wrote down on my data sheet. But
sorry.
The problems we have is every meeting seems to change. We wrote it all down yesterday.
No.
Don't worry, all the time sheets. We analyse every blooming lap, every second of every lap. Weight, the bike. This is what we did weigh with the bike and rider.
Yeah.
The weight of the bike was 57. So 57 off a 130.5. Sorry, 57 is what he weighed, is what Nathan weighed. 57. Darren, 57 off a 130.5. 57 off a 130.5. That was what we weighed combined. Nathan weighed 57 kilos. 86.5 was what the bike weighed then.
So what did you do? You strap weights to it?
Yeah, we've had to put the lead weights on the back of the seat. I'll show it you. It's we've had to put 6 kilos on, plus leave 2 litres of fuel in, which weighs 0.8 of a kilo each litre. So we haven't got the worst situation. There's a lad here on that Aztec bike, isn't there? And they've got to put 27 kilos on the bike.
They can only make the bike a maximum of
90 kilos.
Okay.
That's the maximum they can make the bike.
Sweet. Alright, Lily. Thanks for coming. Yeah, okay. Drive careful. Look after the pal.
I'll send you a text, alright?
Yeah. Ta-da. Yeah, tell me you said. Ta. Sorry, mate.
No, that's okay. So as with other bikes, you obviously keep the
2 minutes.
With some of the other teams, you keep the data sheets from every single outing.
Every outing, yeah.
So you do exactly the same, and you've got settings for the suspension.
For the next time we come here, then yeah, exactly the same. Every time we go to every track's different, and every setting's different. Not massive.
Yeah.
A couple of clicks here on the forks, compression, and a couple of clicks on the rear rebound or something is all that's needed. Once you've got the basic setting of your bike, your rider. Fortunately, being youngsters, they're off, they're injured, and you bring another rider in. Completely different.
Yeah.
Completely different setup. You're wasting the first session, maybe half, second session, setting the bike up rather than racing the track.
So what is the attraction to racing for you?
I was a 125 motocrosser. I wish I could have afforded in them days to road race. It weren't something that you could do. Motocross wasn't that expensive, but it were cheap. You could work and race.
Yeah.
Road racing at that time, if you were a racing family, you could race in one of those, you know, carters and Pageants. So when on this, you had to give up your life really to road race, including money. And then my son Benji raced, and we won everything, the Twiller Super Teens, MRO, EMRA, went through all that, and then come to the British, and then he went on to better things with Paul Bird, and I had a bike available, and I thought, why not bring some more youngsters through, get them to where we can't take them anymore, like Bradley Smith, Scott Redding, all them sort of kids. We've sponsored body work or helped them out in one way or another, and pushed them into the direction we want them to be, and then stand back and let the rest do it. And the Law Twins, all them sort of people. It's good. It's about the passion of racing and trying to get the kids where they really should be. Fortunately, the powers that be have decided that these are not the future anymore. They haven't looked at the riders, they've looked at the bikes the riders are on. Some believe they've made the right choice, I believe they've made a massive mistake. You can't bring a kid off a Super Teen or an 80 onto a 600 or even a 4-stroke 250. It's not learning them anything. It's not learning them racecraft, there's nothing there. Once you can ride a 125 GP bike, you can ride anything. Honestly, you can ride anything. You'll miss a gear on this and your whole lap's gone. You'll miss a gear on an R6 and it'll still wheel it. It will.
Makes life a lot easier.
It does, mate. Yeah, it does.
So if there's something you would say to someone sat at home right now going, I wouldn't mind getting into racing, what would it be?
How much money you got? I would invest in the youngsters. If they want fulfilment and passion, then I would get involved with the youngsters, because when it's bad, but when it's good, it's fantastic. You know what I mean? You see their faces when they're smiling. It's not always like that, but when they're happy, it's worthwhile. It's all worthwhile.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, Gary, thank you very much for chatting.
You're quite welcome, mate. Anytime. Thank you.